Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Empowered series. As usual, I'm Sophia Ivan Garba with Empowering Women for Excellence Initiative. Empowered series are a series of conversations with women leaders and change makers. We want to know who they are and why they do what they do. Our session today will be with Omolara Adedeji. And I'm going to start off first, as usual, with the introduction. And you know how it is, they usually have nice long CVs. So let's get into it. Omolara is an economist, human resource manager. She's an education advocate and a business enthusiast. She's the executive director of Flickers of Hope Foundation, Nigeria, the vice president at the Center for New Dimension Leadership, and the CEO of Deliberate Beauty Center. I like that, deliberate. She is one who is passionate about education, obviously, as you can see, mentorship, women empowerment, human resource development, management, life, and leadership. She openly shares and works towards her convictions in these areas. So she offers consulting services in these areas. She is a spiritual identity mentor. We're going to learn about that. A woman of God's purpose in Nigeria, coaching women in leadership through National Emancipation. She's also the convener of the Access Women Fellowship, where she expresses her passion for women, reaching out to them, teaching and mentoring them to fulfillment. That's not all. Following her passion and commitment to transforming lives, Omolara holds a master's degree in business administration, an MBA, a postgraduate diploma in education, and a bachelor's in economics. She has a goal to serve her generation and share values and lifestyle principles that better positions the next generation for impact and influence, using education as a tool and a platform for empowerment. And lastly, imagine she's an author of several books, and she hosts a talk on life via her podcast series, Life Treatment, where she tackles and helps people through several life issues. Whew, that is a lot, Omolara. Welcome to the series today. How are you
Thank
today?
you so much, Sophia, for having me. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. We've known each other, I think, many years ago, but
Many years ago, right?
there you go.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we get to do this now. It's amazing.
Yes.
So, okay, let's start with the obvious question because I saw it, I'm like, okay, what does this mean? Who is a spiritual identity mentor? And we also said just now you're also an author and you host a podcast. So tell us all about that and how all of these mix into what you do.
Okay. Principally, I love to highlight that part of me of being a spiritual identity mentor, because I realize central to my purpose is helping people discover who they are. So conversing with people or engaging with people, I quickly want to discover, who are you? Do you truly know who you are? Can you, have you gained a mastery of self? Because that's so important, that's so central. So every time I engage with people through my different expressions, I quickly want to help people discover who they are. So that's why, yes, I love to highlight that part of myself and my work as a spiritual identity mentor. Because if you don't know who you are, it's often, as it has been said, if your purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. And it also has to do with us. If you don't know who you are, there's a likelihood you abuse your person. So it's not just about abusing things or other people, you could also abuse yourself. And how you abuse yourself is because you tend to underplay your strengths and often leave on or not leverage enough your strength, which is the core of who you are. And that's a problem with many people, especially women. We live in a society where women, even without even coming out themselves, the society itself downplays the strengths of women. So if you don't know who you are as a woman, as a person, you would often downplay your true identity. So I work with women, with children, with young people to discover themselves. So as many people that I come across, I often want to challenge and, speak to the identity, because you can't do much without knowing yourself. So it starts with yourself. To even lead in any sphere in the world, it starts with self-leadership. If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead anything. So identity is critical. So that's it about me, and it also is shown through all the expressions that I portray. The podcast series, the books that I write, they're all channeled towards identity, self-mastery. Understand who you are, understand why you're here, understand what you're here for, and all those things are highlighted in what I do. My podcast is the life treatment, and what I do with that is to help you also discover yourself and see that there are certain things you're being challenged with, that if you can actually apply yourself, you'll be able to come out from those things. So I often link us to, our origin and our roots, which is spiritual, whether we like it or not. We're all spiritual beings, and the core of who we are is spiritual. When you're able to connect with that core of who you are, then you'll be able to apply that yourself to several other things or expressions in your life.
It's all about identity, and then
Yes.
growing from that and being expressive. Does that mean you work with like religious bodies sometimes, or just do you have like a specific group that you work with, or you work with everyone?
I work with everyone, but I am particularly passionate about women and children. So I
Okay.
find myself, speaking a lot to young people and to
Mm,
women, because for me, it's if you want to do anything, especially now, oftentimes we don't pay attention to it, but we need to start giving attention to the younger generation, because there are many changes we desire that would actually start with them. So if we don't want the same things to repeat themselves in our society, then we should start paying attention to the younger ones. And women, because women are actually the foundation and the foundational fabric of the society, because
mm,
every individual you see out there in any space doing anything was raised in a family, and
mm.
central to the nurturing of families is the woman. So you see that when you actually pay attention to raising a woman to become a leader, you have actually raised an entire family to the place of leadership.
Mm. Some strong and powerful quotes there. And I think you started to speak to this when, in line with my next question, which is why you chose this path that you're following, and what motivates you, as to keep going, because obviously there will be lots of challenges along the way. And as you answer that, would like to hear what kind of concrete results that you have seen from your work.
My concrete results in this work has been change, the transformation that happens when I engage with people. I've seen people change from mediocrity to excellence. I've seen people change from immaturity to maturity. I've seen people evolve. How people would come thinking they are not, that they can't really measure up, they can't do it. You see inherent weakness in people, how people can leverage their strengths, and
Mm,
we just have conversations, and because really everything that each individual needs is inherent in them.
mm,
All you do as a mentor or as a coach is to help them draw, help them
mhm,
bring it out, help them discover themselves. So because every human being, it has a wealth and deposit of resources in them. What you just help them do is to discover. So there's a revelation of self that happens because we engage. So there's something in you that has always been there, but you never knew was there. And
mm,
we just have a conversation, and you start, getting to know, okay, so I can do this. So
mm.
I'm able to be able to push these frontiers. So this that I've always taught is no-go area for me, I can actually venture into that space and do well. So you realize that people always have those things in them. And knows is there. I can help them pull it out and say, yes, you have this in you. Have you seen it? See this that you have in you. This and this is what you can do with it. So testimonies of transformation, I would say, is the concrete results that I've seen in this journey.
That's great. And what motivates you then? Like, what keeps you going, especially when you face the obstacles that are inevitable in this line of work?
Well, my major motivation, I would say is God, because when I look at what God has done for us as a human race, I get motivated because He doesn't give up. I've never seen anyone that is so dogged like God. He doesn't just give up on us. He's always looking out for the best in us. He's always revealing who we are to us. And God motivates me, because if He keeps doing that for me, then I can't stop doing that for other people. Because He's always, when I see what God does to me, you mess up and it looks as if you're going back, and He's still saying, you know what? I'm still rooting for you. I believe you can do this. I believe you can get up and still run. So when I see somebody going through and the person is just, I'm saying, okay, this is you're a gold mine. You just don't know it. And if only I can make you discover who you are, you will stand up and run, because you're seeing a future ahead of you that is beyond where you are right now. And you're willing to live where you are right now to go for what you're saying that is beautiful. And that's what God does for us. So it's my greatest motivating factor, because I see Him do it for me. I see Him do it for other people. And I feel compelled, because of what I see, to also do it for other people. I don't want to give up on people. I want to keep pushing to see that everyone is able to transform and realize their full potential.
That's so powerful. And I'm actually going to come back to that a little bit later, but I'll just keep going for now. This concept of coaching women in leadership for national emancipation. What does this involve, and how are women responding to this?
Okay, yes. One of the concepts that quickly came to me in my journey is that every woman must see themselves as a leader. And the reason why I said coaching women like that is because of that revelation I caught, that women are leaders. Oftentimes women want to take the backstage, and the society has actually presented an environment that makes it convenient for women to actually take the back seat, because by the time you want to do this, they will tell you, okay, that's not for women. It's the men's world, it's the men's thing. So you realize that latently in every woman is that laid back attitude towards leadership. You feel leadership is something for the men and it's not for us. And oftentimes, even when women want to even emerge, and they're being spoken to, they're being spoken down to, even by fellow women, to say, why are you trying to rise? Why are you trying to be out there? Why are you trying to push? And when I realized this, I realized that it's important for us to start speaking and disabusing the minds of women, to make them see that there's leadership in them. Women need to start seeing themselves as leaders and start stepping up to leadership responsibility. And it starts from the family. Sometimes we want to excuse ourselves from it and say, okay, you know what, maybe that's all that it is to me. But it only starts from there, it doesn't end there. Leadership for women does not end in the family, it starts from there. So you see that when the woman has been built up as a leader that serves. So you see that every society you find yourself, you see women serving. So you see women nurturing homes, nurturing children, nurturing things. It's just inherent in the makeup of a woman to nurture. And that skill is called service in leadership. And it's already natural, it's second nature to a woman. So who tells you that you can lead? So when we talk about leading and coaching women for national emancipation, it's to let women know that that space, that leadership role of women is still missing in our society. And we need to start filling up those roles. We're complaining about the state of the society because the nurturing function of leadership for women is missing. You know, we look at the world today and we see countries that are doing well. Check them. They are led by women because those nations are being nurtured. And nations actually, like children, requires nurturing. So the leadership skill of the woman is necessary to actually complement what is already prevalent in our society. That nurturing is missing. Our societies need to be nurtured. The reason why we have so much war and not peace is because the nurturing of nations has been isolated in the leadership. So it's important. I saw that need and I felt it was imperative for us to start speaking to women to actually take up their leadership role. And they already have what it takes. Women are already serving. So why stop your service in the family when you can actually take it further, where you can actually step it up further to your community, to your country? So that's why, you know, that is also centered in my heart, where women will start standing out. And see, you don't need to do much. We're not competing. What we're trying to do is to complement. We're complementing. There's already a leadership structure, but there's a gap. Women need to stand up and fill that gap. Our nations actually need nurturing.
Ooh. I thought I had a fire in me, and now I feel I'm getting reconverted and re-energized. I mean,
Wow.
Seriously, Lara. Okay, several questions from that. I'm sorry, I have to get into them. So one of the things that you said, you mentioned you know, about countries and how the countries that are doing well comparatively around the world, if you look at the COVID-19 response, the countries that did the best were those that were run by women. And yes. I think that, you know, looking generally at women, again, you mentioned several things. You also mentioned the fact that other women themselves sometimes are the ones in the way of women being able to advance. And then a third thing, unfortunately, so that's another thing, like I would want to know, okay, so first you're talking, okay, COVID-19, everything. Tell me about that. Tell me about, you know, how can women support other women truly, aside from just, you know, just saying it and not taking any concrete actions? How can women support women?
The first thing that readily comes to mind is understanding. The reason why many women, it's about the stereotypes in society. Other women have not come to that leadership consciousness. The reason we're still struggling with this is because we're not seeing it. When we start seeing that there's a gap and we have what it takes, then we'll push for ourselves. If you're not there, you're pushing for another woman to be there, because there's a consciousness you now have. You now have the consciousness that there's a gap, and you know that that gap can actually be filled by the right woman being in that space. Because you know that in the woman makeup, there's that inherent nurturing skill, that serving skill. Women can serve without being paid. Women can serve without being appreciated once they know that the result or the goal will be achieved. So we realize that all we need is that consciousness, that understanding. So when other women get on board, it's when other women start understanding. So the understanding we're talking about is a general understanding for women. So whether you want to be in that space or not, you need to know and you need to understand that there's a gap existing, and women are already wired with what it takes. So when we all come to that consciousness and that understanding, we will support ourselves. Because at that point, we would have been able to break down the walls of barrier that have been built over the years in our minds that have stopped us from supporting other women and actually ourselves going for it. So we need, and that's why the empowerment of women, somebody said to me that okay, why is it that, there's a lot of courses speaking about empowering women? That do we think men also don't need empowerment? And the first thing that came to my mind is, why are we speaking to the empowerment of women? It's because the women have been disadvantaged. There's a stereotype that have been created in our societies that is not in the support of women. So for you to be able to bring them out of that space and bring them into the space where they can now understand who they are and what they are supposed to be doing, a lot of empowerment has to go into it. So we need to continue to build the consciousness of women. We need to continue to upgrade the thinking of women to that place of understanding of their role.
Bingo. You mentioned these words, the right women, right? And the consciousness of women. And we found that a lot in our work, like at EWI, one of the key things we're always trying to focus on is mindsets. As a woman, you feel, I cannot come and I cannot invest, 2 hours online on a course because I have XYZ to do. And by the time I'm finished, I cannot do it. Like already, she has a mindset like, I'm limited. And whether these roles that we speak of, when you speak of nurturing, it's a gender norm, it's a role, it's a gender role that it's expected that, in fact, it's being used both positively and negatively. So how have women, especially women that come with mindsets of, I can't do it, how have they been responding to your work with them?
Yes. First thing, I love to say is we can't undermine the place of mentoring. Mentoring is so important. You need to see other women do it. You see them do it, you see them succeed at it, and they're still able to balance other responsibilities in their life. You just need to see one person do it and you're challenged. The reason many women are still laid back is because we don't have enough mentoring. Some women are doing it, but are not being seen. Visibility is key. We need to start speaking about, like what you're doing, Sophia. We need to start bringing out women that are doing something that will challenge other women. That visibility creates a type of mentoring. They don't need to be in the space of that woman. They only need to see her and hear her. Once they can see and hear, something tells them that the excuses they've been given over the years is not tenable. Because this is somebody doing it. This is somebody doing it, and you can see she's pulling out the results. For example, the visible mentoring that Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala has done for girls all over the world by becoming the WTO DJ is far-reaching because people can see and can hear that a woman from an African country can achieve that. It unsettles something in you as a woman. Because you tell yourself, all the excuses have been given. This woman in the same space was able to achieve this. So mentoring is very essential. We can't downplay it. We need to keep bringing out women that are doing things. We need to start showing women so that they are stirred up, so that they are challenged, so that they know that, see, enough of the excuses. you need to start doing something. And that's why particularly, that's one of the things I do for the women around me. I don't just want to talk, I want to show. I want to show you what I'm doing and mentor you by that, because what you see would often stick better than what you hear. So when you see someone doing something, it stirs up and unsettles something within you. It creates a possibility in you, and there's something that will happen to you that will crush down all the excuses you've been giving yourself over the years, because you tell yourself, this is not it. If she can do it, then I can.
That is so powerful. We need to show women. And thank you for showing and not just saying. What's next over the next 5 years?
Over the next 5 years, I'm looking to express many of the things that would help, number one, women empowerment. Over the next 5 years, I'm seeing, I'm looking to organizing women into groups that at different levels, because one of the things we must understand and also speak to women about is that because somebody is doing something and the person is doing it well, doesn't mean that you're wired to do the same thing. There might be a different thing you have been wired to do. So we realize that there are different spheres of influence. There are some women that theirs is just media and communication. For some women, it's education. For some women, it's agriculture. For some women, there are different spheres that actually will bring out your full potential. For some women, it's politics and governance. That's the environment where they thrive. So, what I'm looking at in the next 5 years is to have such powerful clusters of women, where there are different women doing different things, and they are not just mediocre at it, they are excellent. A cluster where women are supporting themselves, women are creating opportunity and access for other women to rise. And they are creating mentorship, they are creating coaching environments. It's already happening. And one of the things that I also believe is so essential for us to do is also to leverage on each other's strengths. Don't be that woman that will be in another woman's space to pull her down. If a woman is already doing something well and she's doing it in such a way that you know that she's already operating in her strength zone, lend your voice to her. Lend your voice to her. Let her know she's doing well. And if that space is also a space you need to be, and you feel you also have some level of competence in, why not let her show you what she's doing right, so that you can also see that and be able to leverage on that to also grow yourself. So what we're looking at is having clusters of access and opportunities for women, because one of the things that does not work well for women right now is access and opportunities. Many women have so great potentials, but limited access, limited opportunities. So in the next 5 years, I'm looking at creating access for women across different levels, where they can have access to opportunities, have access to resources that will build them and help them stand. And also for young people, I'm also looking, one of the things that I advocate is education. And not just education as it is, as many people, would say, but as a tool and platform for change. So I'm also looking at, in the next 5 years, building platforms for young people to be able to use education as a tool and as a platform. What I'm looking at the next 5 years is to see communities. I see children that know nobody come out from communities and become the talk of the town, because they are taking education as a tool and a platform to change their lives and their communities. So those are the things I'm looking at the next 5 years, create access for women, and also create platforms for children in communities to use education as a tool and as a platform for change.
That's great. Nice big dreams and that's actually what you said all along. It's about changing mindsets, about discovering yourself and being able to do something so different. And before I ask you to give your closing message to those who would really want to make a difference as well, to be different, um, we'll have your contact details, obviously your LinkedIn profile and the website and all those below over here. So check it out. But if a person wants, if anyone, a woman, a youth wants to reach out to you, how do they do that?
You can reach out to me via all the social media handles. On Twitter is at LGA Adedeji, and on Instagram the same name LG Adedeji. On Facebook Lara Gboyega Adedeji. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn also. Also Lara Gboyega Adedeji. You can also check the website on Flickers of Hope Foundation, flickersofhope.org. And I also have an expression in Center for New Dimension Leadership at centerndl.org. You'll see there's several podcasts that would encourage you and bless you there that you can listen to and be encouraged. And you can reach out to me. Like Sophia said, my details would also be published alongside this video so that you can also reach out, to me. When I get your email, I'll do well to respond when I'm available.
Thank you so much, Lara. What are your closing remarks?
My closing remarks will be for everyone listening. Please, I want you to understand and know that you are a walking gold mine. There's so much in you. There's so much in you. Don't let anybody talk you down. Don't let anybody put you down, whether you're a man or a woman, a boy or a girl. God made you in his image, and that's a lot. He made you in his image and in his likeness, and God doesn't play small. I would ask you, don't play small. Be all that you can be. Explore that gold mine, which is you.
Thank you so much, Lara Adedeji. Lara has fired us up in this episode. So up to you now to take it up from here. This has been the Empowered series. Looking forward to the next episode. And thank you, Lara, for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Sophia. It's a pleasure.